And to shed more light on this headline and also the other headlines today, we are very delighted to have with us over the phone Dr. Monica William. She's an international relations expert. Thank you very much, Dr. William, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today.
Dr. Lobna, why it is so important to digitalize Egypt's media heritage?
Of course, decisions of accelerate the digitalization of Egypt's media heritage represents investment in how Egyptian state now perceives the national memory and strengthens its culture soft power. Egypt possesses one of the richest achieved in Arab world. It's document decades of political, social, and culture developments. So the digitalization of these archives protects them from deterioration, making on the other side accessible to researchers, educational institutions, and future generations through modern digital technologies. The incorporation of artificial intelligence, for instance, into the index and review process also reflect Egypt's broader digital transformation agenda from the strategic perspective, of we can say. It enables more efficient utilization of the valuable heritage, and it's equally important the modernization of mass bureau, and to demonstrate the cognition that public media must adapt to rapidly evolving digital landscape.
Yes, Dr. Monica, we move to a news from Al Ahram Online where we read, Egypt reaffirms readiness to support Sudan post-war reconstruction. Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati reiterated Egypt's readiness to help rebuild Sudan once the conflict ends during talks with his Sudanese counterpart Muhyi al-Din Salim on Monday, as the two also discussed efforts to reach a political settlement. Foreign Minister Abdel-Ati reiterated Egypt's support for Sudan's unity, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national institutions, stressing the need to respect Sudan's sovereignty and also the principle that any political solution should be Sudanese-led. He said Egypt backed efforts to restore stability and end the conflict through a comprehensive political settlement that preserves Sudan's sovereignty and meets the aspirations of its people. Abdel-Ati also said that Egypt and Egyptian companies are ready to contribute to Sudan's reconstruction once hostilities cease and security is restored, highlighting the experience of Egyptian firms in infrastructure and construction projects. Dr. William, could you please shed more light on Egypt's efforts to restore stability and end the conflict in Sudan so far?
Regarding Egypt's period balanced policy centered on preserving Sudan unity, as you said, and sovereignty and territorial integrity while supporting Sudanese own political process. Egypt believes that military confrontation along can produce sustainable peace and therefore continue to support diplomatic initiatives aimed at achieving comprehensive political settlements, and indeed it's part of Egypt's belief or Egypt's foreign policy. Egypt assumed a significant humanitarian responsibility by hosting more than 1.5 million Sudanese nationals since the conflict began. Looking forward, Egypt is expected to play a vital role in Sudan reconstruction once security conditions permit. Egypt companies possess extensive expertise in infrastructure, transportation, and electricity, and it's very important effective role to rebuild essential facilities. And of course, on the other side, as we said that beyond infrastructure, Egypt can contribute to institutional capacity building by sharing expertise in public administration, digital governance, and human resources development, which strengthen state institutions and restore essential public service and promote economic recovery, which of course will be fundamental to preventing renewed instability. So Egypt's approach reflects the understanding that successful state building is about rebuilding the physical infrastructure, but also creating resilient institutions and fostering inclusive development.
Yeah. Dr. William, we move to the Egyptian Gazette where we read Egypt, Greece discuss strategic ties, regional de-escalation. Foreign Minister Badr Abdel-Ati and his Greek counterpart held talks to deepen their strategic partnership and also coordinate efforts for regional de-escalation. Their discussions focused on addressing escalating crises in the Middle East, including the situation in Gaza, Libya and Sudan, as well as advancing joint economic and energy projects. Dr. William, how did the Egyptian-Greek bilateral ties develop in the past few years in your point of view?
Of course, if we can say it, it's witnessed very strategic and evolved comprehensive strategic relationship on shared interest in Eastern Mediterranean, and of course cooperation expanded beyond political dialogue to include energy, maritime security, trade, migration and regional connectivity. Both countries maintain regular high-level consultation and coordination closely on affecting on issues that affect the regional stability. This cooperation regarding Gaza, Libya and Sudan is particularly significant because both recognize that security challenges in the Mediterranean and Middle East are connected. So this consistent and continuous coordination, Egypt and Greece seek to encourage escalation and support diplomatic solution, safeguard energy security, and of course it's part of the most important file between both sides, and to promote respect for international law as foundation for regional stability. We can say that the recent talks, specifically between both sides, underscore the growing importance of their strategic coordination, especially amidst escalating regional challenges, and of course it's part of their partnership evolved beyond the bilateral relations, if we can say it, into a strategic framework that contributes to economic resilience and stability across the broader Middle East and part of its, of course, Eastern Mediterranean.
Yes, Dr. Monica, also from the Arab news, we read some regional news, which is Saudi forces intercept drones coming from Iraq. Defense Minister said that, and the Saudi Defense Ministry said it's intercepted several drones launched by groups in Iraq on Monday, while the Houthis in Yemen also claimed attacks on Saudi oil tanker infrastructure. Saudi Arabia was repeatedly targeted at the height of the Middle East war. However, the latest attacks come during a lull in the fight since Saturday, following 13 days of exchanges of fire between the U.S. and Iran. The Saudi Defense Ministry said that the drones targeted petroleum facilities in areas in the country's east and the capital Riyadh. On Monday, the Houthis said they launched drone attacks on Saudi Arabian oil infrastructure in response to the incursions by the kingdom's drones. The latest flare-up between Saudi Arabia and the Houthis marks the first time in years the two sides have traded blows, threatening a 2022 truce in the previous conflict that has held despite expiring. Dr. Williams, does targeting Saudi Arabia mean that a new front in the Middle East region is about to open?
Well, indeed, the recent drone attacks targeting Saudi Arabia represent a significant security development with implication. Of course, it's part of the premature to conclude that entry new front has opened in the or the Middle East. It's part of the pressure from Houthi and, of course, Iran, pressure on the United States and its allies. So it would be this attack highlights the growing risk of regional spillover as conflict becomes increasingly interconnected. So the use of drones demonstrates how non-state actors, of course, it's part of the new features of this or the new war, can project power across borders at relatively low cost while targeting strategic infrastructure, while we can say it's potentially high political and economic consequences. Yes. The involvement of Houthi, it's of course operating from Iraq along the side responsibility or attacks. It illustrates the complexity of what's happening today regarding regional security arena. Multiple regions of conflicts, including Yemen, Iraq, and Gulf countries, have become strategically linked, making the escalation more challenging, making the diplomatic process more difficult. These attacks may be intended to send very important political and military
yes, Dr. William, we move now to the Egyptian Gazette, where we read Egypt condemns the drone attacks that targeted Saudi Arabia, and Egypt strongly condemned the drone attacks targeting the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, considering them a violation of its security and stability and an escalation that could undermine security and stability in the region. In a statement on Monday, the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs reiterated Egypt's full solidarity with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and its support for the measures it is taking to maintain its security and stability. What are the explanations given by scientists for the wild... I'm sorry, Doctor. How do you read the Egyptian stance towards the Saudi Arabia drones attacks by the Houthis?
Egypt's position is driven by its strategic commitment to preserve Arab national security and to promote collective regional stability. As one of the region's key diplomatic actors, Egypt calls for restraint and respect for international law and peaceful resolution for this conflict through dialogue and diplomatic dialogue, not other than, of course, or regards the military escalation. Gulf stability is closely linked to Egypt's national security, given the interconnected nature of regional economic interests, energy markets, and maritime trade routes. And of course, by expressing this full solidarity with Arabia and of course with Gulf countries, there is a lot of visits from the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Bahrain, and Kuwait. And of course, it seeks to reinforce the principle that regional security is very important. It's a very high priority for Egypt. And of course, at the same time, Egypt continues to support diplomatic initiatives that prevent this further escalation, whether with the United States and on the other side with Iran. And of course, Egypt recognizes that sustainable security can be achieved through escalation or its regional cooperation, comprehensive political resolution.
Well, Dr. Monica William, the international relation expert, thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us today in our program Press Insight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our program today. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for more to come on ITV International. This was Abid Mitwali. Thanks for watching.